Hello, and welcome back to the channel.
I'm Heather.
And I'm Amy.
I really said that in a weird way. I'm Heather.
She's Heather. She's feeling herself in her blazer.
We're sitting in chairs right now. This is like a big change for us.
It's gonna take a little.
It's like, what are my angles, Jimmy? What are my angles? Do you see my feet? What's going on? Okay.
I think we're good though. I think we're good.
What are we going to talk about today?
Well, we have a new fun feature that we thought we would try out, which is we're always forecasting and doing a little trend research around the studio, trying to get ideas for patterns, for styling. And so I spend a lot of time looking at the internet, looking in young people's stores, on Pinterest, just get a sense of what people are wearing. We look at the runway.
Did you just say young people stores?
I did, because I ain't shopping at Urban Outfitters, but I want to know what they're selling. And I don't do it. Well, I sell my own clothes.
I like to go to a Hot Topic. I like to see what they're wearing. What's trending in the goth subculture.
Yeah. You got to know what's going on. But we still are on clothes. I don't spend a lot of time in malls anymore.
But the difference between, I think, the two of us is that you are way more I'm not online. I'm in real life. So I'll travel a lot. I like going to high-end stores, and that's my favorite thing to do when I travel. I shop, and then I subscribe to a million Substacks and official Women's Wear Daily and stuff. So I have the high-end stuff, seeing it from that perspective. But you have an on-the-ground, what's happening on the socials perspective that I don't have.
Well, and it's funny because it's even then though the algorithms are so specific, right? So seeing what is being doled out to, as we say, the youngins, is so much different than what would maybe be projected to me if they were looking at my demographic, which is a 45-year-old woman in Canada. And so I think what I'm interested in today is I am noticing a lot of revisiting. It's partly virtue of the age we're getting to, which is, trend cycle. Obviously, fashion is so cyclical. And so we're seeing the 20, 30-year, in some cases 40-year revival of 90s and early aughts fashion.
Which has been happening for a while. And I feel like 90s came back about 10 years ago. It was all the normcore, everybody dressing like Seinfeld on a bad day. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, oh, the aughts stuff is coming. Grunge started coming back. Now we're in deep aughts nostalgia, I think. And I've been reading a lot of op-ed pieces about why that is. It's this kind of pre-social media. It's it's easy to be nostalgic about it because it was this period before our phones took over our lives.
Well, and it's just the nature of it, right? Where even in the 90s, we were reliving elements of the 70s, and my mom had to be like, you want bell bottoms?
Yeah, my mother had the exact same reaction. I was like, this is cool. And she was like, you look disgusting, and I have to go. And I was like, well, whatever. I wish you would have saved your pants. Now I have to make them myself.
Yeah, and so, there's only so many leg shapes, and we have to put pants on legs. So, there's a cyclical nature to it that's just undeniable. But what's new for me is that a lot of these things are now for the second time, and they're not just the second time in my lifetime. They're the second time I'm buying these clothes as an independent human person. So I'm showing Heather some trends. Now, not all of these are repeat trends. Some of these things are just things that are coming down from the runway shows. Projecting into 2025 spring, I kind of did a composite of low, high. I took a lot of different sources, but we're just gonna kind of look at these things. Heather hasn't seen this presentation yet, and so you're going to be looking at it with fresh eyes. And I'm going to.
Scared.
We were trying to think of the hot or not, or the yes or no of in and out, the kind of comparison of those two ideas. And I think what we're going to settle on is the would you wear it or the
can't.
Just can't. I can't go there. I can't do
it. Would or can't.
Would or can't.
And you know what I like about both of these is that these are personal. I would, I can't. This isn't hot or not. I'm not
should or shouldn't.
I'm not, what's the expression? I'm not
yucking my yum.
I'm not yucking anybody's yum.
That's it.
Everybody is entitled to their own opinion.
Oh my
Everybody
gosh.
likes their own things. If you don't agree with me, that's totally fine. We're just having a little fun here.
And it's
This is
also,
meant to be
it's
fun.
just first impressions.
First
you know.
impression. I
Yeah.
feel like okay.
Like, what's your visceral reaction if you were walking into your favorite store in the mall and you're like, yes or no? Store in the mall.
Would or can't.
Would or can't.
Okay.
All right. So, first up on our projection is,
Oh, it's animated.
I know, pointy toes, tiny heel.
This is
So these are taken.
my sense memory of this is so strong.
I could only call it gut, although it wasn't my gut even. But when I saw this, and this is taken from every single one of these pictures is a different website.
I mean, I have seen this, but I think I have seen this in isolated instances, but seeing it on it,
confrontational.
it's a little bit confrontational.
Yeah, for some reason it struck me even more abrasive in the boot form.
Well, what I find, okay, I know kitten heels have been back for like 5 or 6 years. I don't love a kitten heel, okay? I like a sturdy block heel.
Yeah.
I don't want to get a little heel stuck in a sidewalk. I don't love a narrow heel. I like a sturdy, practical. If I'm going to wear a heel, I want to start. So first of all, I'm just like, this is like you're going to get caught in a sidewalk and you're going to fall down.
Gosh. Yeah.
Second, but I do love a pointy toe. I've never given up on a pointy toe. I still have pointy toe boots that I wear, but for me, all my pointy toes either have like a block heel or a stacked heel. I'm not doing a skinny heel. But again, if I saw somebody wearing these in Montreal, I wouldn't be like, well, like I would just be like, it's happening.
Okay, so would or
could I do like half? Like I can half. I half with the front.
No, the brief
I half can't the back.
No, this isn't
I
a
can't.
mullet.
I can't. Although I can't. I can't. Well, but the one in the middle, the one at the middle would be the exception to all of these. What I think is interesting about the middle is that it's not a tight aughts plasticky sheath hugger.
Like beige on
no,
our.
it's like on an oversized
right.
kind of loose slouchy feel, and that to me feels much more contemporary. The one on the right is a crime. It's also
beige with the skirt.
well, no, it's the low-rise acid wash flares with the boot that I can't.
Okay. We got more. Next up.
I'm scared.
Are you nervous?
Oh, I'm into this.
Okay. All right.
I'm very into this. School uni.
School uni. So school uni, in addition to being a little shout out to our friends down under, who call it a uni, obviously this is heavy on the Tom Brown. For those of you that follow Runway, Tom Brown is really having a moment, especially thanks to Doechii, who has been wearing exclusively Tom Brown for her latest run of concerts and press cycles. Everyone was wearing Tom Brown in her performance on the Grammys. I think she's doing a really cool version of it, but it's all the way into, I don't want to say low fashion, but the picture in the middle, I believe, is, I want to say American Eagle Outfitters, or, a mall store. It's an approachable mall store.
I would say that skirt is bordering on a little too short for me, but
She's a little belty.
I'm not 18 years old anymore with legs to my hoo-ha, so I could be.
And they're wearing them with bike shorts. They're not flashing.
Well, that is my thing with a really short skirt.
It's
is like
a sport.
what? Like you need to have a short under it because nobody otherwise your things are touching the.
Of course.
So I was a Catholic high schoolgirl. I wasn't Catholic, but I went to a Catholic school.
Yeah.
And I wore a uniform, and as a poor student, the uniform, I loved the uniform because I went to a school with a bunch of rich kids and I couldn't compete. We just didn't have any money. And so I bought my uniforms used. There was a used store in the school. And I was so grateful to that uniform because it was just this class. It was a leveler. It was everybody whatever. You could tell if somebody had a pair of sick Air Jordans on or whatever, but I loved the uni, and I think I love a uniform in general. I like putting variations on it, but I'm very much like a blazer and jeans person, a button down, and I have my own uniform, so I think there's something comforting about this. But more importantly, this is iconic. This is the prep school England. This is Ivy League.
Totally.
style.
Floyd The Wall all the way to Prada. Miuccia has done so many versions of the little pleated skirt. Her last couple years collections have delved back into it again. I just think it's so timeless. It's so
and
classic.
You can go like full, like the one on the left is like kind of going like, you know, you have like almost like a full suit on.
Yeah.
And you've got the shirt or like what's happening upper right.
Yeah.
Like you can go full look, but you could also just have like a little trim blazer.
Absolutely.
You could have like a little pleated skirt.
Yeah.
You can kind of like play with this in I think a fun way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm into it.
And I think it is, despite being the, you know, Lolita kind of throwback to the young thing, I think the right cut of blazer, like this double-breasted one I'm showing, everything's classic in that gray flannel kind of like, there's a really good way, I think, to still look young and cool and like you're paying attention to trends, but that you're a grown-up wearing these clothes. And so I'm taking it from that.
I'm pro.
You're a wood.
I'm a wood. I'm absolutely wood.
She's absolutely wood. She's absolutely
woulda,
wood.
woulda, woulda.
All right, up next, capris. Caprizi, easy breezy, beautiful.
I'm surprised you don't have Leandra here because ex-man repeller Leandra's Substack, she has been really pushing a capri, and it was the first time I saw it. And this is very 90s. I was doing capri leggings.
Late 90s,
early aughts. I was doing this with a pointy-toed kitten heel.
Hooah.
Yeah.
To the club.
To the club. I was wearing a going out top.
I mean, to be honest, the one that kind of shook me the most was when it was shown with a heel and a tight top.
Well,
to me, that balance of
tight.
It's giving
Pink Ladies.
Pink Lady.
It's giving. It's
very 50s, come to think of it, by way of the 80s. It's
very Grease.
Yeah, absolutely.
I will say that my first reaction to seeing this filter through my Substacks and stuff was like, I can't. But I will say that there's something, and I know we're not supposed to use the word flattering anymore or whatever, but there's like something really appealing to me about like where a capri hits on the calf.
It's like very leg lengthening.
It hits like above the widest part of your calf. And there's something like everybody I've seen wearing them, I'm like, yeah, that looks good on you.
I think my reaction is in the athleisure approach, like with a runner in more of a knit fabric. I'm really relating to that to me, like a spring, summer, throwing on a capri and a big oversized shirt feels like super comfortable and natural to me. I'm loving it a little less in a woven kind of office lady approach. But that said, I don't know. I could be swayed.
Having said all that, I don't know if I would. But I can't rule it out because I could see a day, because a lot of the times with trends where you have a strong immediate reaction, I can think of 10 of these where my first reaction was like, wouldn't, never, can't, this is offensive, I don't want to see it. And then I see it enough iterations and I see enough people doing it in a way that, and then all of a sudden I'm like, it's happening, I'm doing it.
You've been influenced.
I'm not going to say can't.
Okay.
Because it's more like,
we'll see.
We'll see. I don't know. We need an in-between. Like
I know.
I could be convinced if I see enough cool girls in like New York.
I'm not going to hold you to it.
I might be like, you've convinced me.
Yeah, and I think with so many things, particularly pants, it's really all about the shoes. And it's like, that is the thing that often convinces me is, do I find the right shoe for me to feel comfortable?
You know where I like it? I do like it with like a strappy, minimalist little Calvin Klein sandal.
Okay.
I think is nice.
Well, there you go.
What I don't love is a pointy-toed pump. That's where it starts feeling costumey or kind of vintage.
Yeah.
And Pink
and
Lady.
that's not your style.
Yeah, no, sorry.
All right.
Here we go.
Next up. Just the color.
Would, forever, tomorrow,
In
today.
the F, marry, kill of all of it, you are marrying.
F.
Tomato.
I don't know how many times I have said on our channel that my New Year's resolution last year was to wear more red. And I don't want to be like, I saw this coming, but red has been coming for like 2-3 years. And at Core Fabrics, I have to like forecast colors, right? Because we're like doing all this custom stuff. And so I'm often seeing like when the big companies are projecting the trends and like they're planning 2 years ahead. So tomato has been coming, and it's very funny that you show me this because I am planning our master core fabric color palette. So we have these giant Pantone binders that I've been going through, and I'm like trying to put out, like instead of having 10,000 colors, have like 100. And then we're going to pick colors. I already know like what my perfect olive is, and I don't need to start from scratch. And I had the biggest section on this board was this shade of red, where it was like went from, and I have notes where I'm like slightly more cherry toned, blue undertone, yellow undertone, a little bit whatever, like this. And I think this is the hardest color to get right.
I agree. For me, an orange tone, and it's very much in my color palette.
So that skirt,
a warmer red.
skirt has kind of like a warm undertone, but I do love, so the dress, the runway, that shade is like a slightly blue undertone red that I love, and I keep watching, and because it's out right now, like I'm watching shows or whatever, and people will be wearing that shade of red, and I'm like, it's at night, and I have my phone, and I'm trying to take a picture of the screen to get the red, and then I'm coming in and trying to mix a Pantone. It's really hard to get, and I have like 5 shades I've narrowed it down to, but I think we're gonna have to do some dip ties. But I am like all over this, and what I love about it is it's super classic, right?
Of course.
And I think it might also, the trend might be linked to this idea because I've been seeing it filter around. This is like an old design. Well, it's just an old fashion rule that like 20 years ago, you just have one red thing on you. And it's just like an unexpected thing people aren't expecting. So I always just had red lipstick. Or have a little red shoe, or just like a little pop of red. And in interiors, this is like one of the little secrets of interiors. You could have a really neutral apartment or interior, and you just have a little pop of red, and it's like an unexpected thing that kind of jolts your eye. And of course, like it became like a TikTok thing. I think everybody was obsessed with like a touch of red. And then I don't know if that came and fed this, or if this came and fed that. Who knows where it all is? But
chicken and eggs.
It's like super classic and unexpected, and it's like, it's a little bit look at me. Like when you're wearing red, you want attention. But when the color is that beautiful, I don't know. I'm like,
I think it's very, I don't know, this feels like an old fashioned word, but sexy in the sense that I think what makes it sexy to me is that it is so classic, and that sort of, it just feels very grown up to me. A red lip, a red shoe. It just feels like I've made it.
I'm sure
arrived.
There's something like anthropological. We won't. You can imagine.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's some biological reaction we're having to the color red. But it's like the color of our blood. It's like literally the color of the thing that keeps us alive. It's very primal.
Yes,
I'm into it. And red historically was very expensive to get to get a really bright red like this. Like you could get madder root and get like a deep earthy red, but these shades of red were typically like reserved for like the royalty
and clergy. And I think I love it that's Miuccia Prada in the double-breasted little coat. I don't know how old she is, but I think she just looks adorable, and that was making me really want like a bright tomato red coat.
But I think it like works on blondes, works on brunettes. Like I think you can find a red for every skin tone.
Absolutely.
It's like,
great. Okay, so needless to say, will
forever.
be
okay.
wedding. Next up, I'm calling this look Boho Bolo, because I think boho is like the most overused word ever. But in this context, it's a very specific, there was a moment, I believe, with a bolo tie.
I'm just laughing because I literally bought one of these.
You did? With the silver belt with the buckle?
The conch belt.
Oh my gosh, they're back. They are back. The conch belt with the dirty giant jeans is so funny to me because it is so specifically nostalgic.
I didn't realize that this was back.
Okay, yeah.
And I didn't realize that it was also happening. What's making me laugh is that it's apparently happening with like a low-slung, low-rise, like tiered skirt, like draped over top. I got into a weird fixation. I wanted like a vintage sterling silver conch belt with turquoise. Right, which is traditionally traditionally like a Navajo design, and then Ralph Lauren, appropriate however we want to describe that. Like that belt is kind of like an iconic Ralph Lauren detail.
Absolutely.
And I think maybe Leandra had one. I don't know. I saw someone with like a black turtleneck dress on and this silver conch belt, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
Mama likey.
Yeah.
And then I happened to be in Arizona a month ago visiting my papa, and we went to Tucson? We went to some cute little town in Arizona where they had a bunch of tourist stores, and they have all these stores selling silver. And there was one store that had a wall of vintage silver conch and turquoise belts that are like the most beautiful things you've ever seen.
Oh, so beautiful.
And they were all made by like Native American artisans. And I was like, oh, this is my chance. And I went and looked, and they were like $1,500, $2,000.
Yeah.
And like one at this particular store, they had like a bunch of collectors that come in all the time to get it. And I was so sad. And then I turned around, and then they just had imitation.
Perfect.
That were just like whatever metal plated and whatever nickel, like give you a skin infection.
Sure.
And they were like $80. And I was like, it's happening. So I bought one, and I
so
have
funny.
a turtleneck
I didn't even
dress.
know that.
I haven't worn it to work yet, and I've been wearing them. And I was like, this summer, I was like, oh, I think there's a few things that we're releasing that I think this is going to be really cute. And I was like, I kept thinking it's a super timeless thing. I'm going to have it forever. I'll figure out a way to wear it.
Absolutely.
And then maybe I would re-embody silver, because I haven't done silver, but I'm not maybe doing it in this fashion.
Well, I just couldn't get over the Lilith Fair look on the right. It is so Sarah McLachlan. It is so Alanis. The layering of them over the short skirt. I couldn't believe it was back so specifically.
Well, I think maybe the thing is, like, because I can handle some of the trends coming back, but what I can't do is it head to toe. I can't do like the ruffle hem shirt and the micro layered mini and the boots and the thing. Like, I can't do all of them. Like, it feels like
Coachella.
It feels like I'm doing, like I'm in costume of myself. Like, I can't.
No.
But I can pull like a thing.
Yeah.
I can pull a wide leg. Like, am I gonna pull? I'm wearing right now my Chloe jeans.
Yeah.
Am I gonna wear my Chloe jeans with this a la the girl in the left? No. But I will wear that over a dress or something. Like, it starts feeling too costumey when I'm combining the trends.
Absolutely. No, I think that that's the key with all of these things, especially again if you're kind of reliving them for the second or maybe even third iteration, depending on how old you are. And I think that that's sort of it. Kind of like these things. I think it's an interesting litmus test, because it's sort of like time does just tell. You know, and it's funny to me because it's like obviously all of this is rising to the top, and then you see, oh no, that's persevered for now. We're seeing that again and again and again. That becomes timeless. That's when you invest in the belt, and maybe one day you'll get spring for the $1,500 one. But I mean, honestly, silver's annoying because you have to polish it.
Like I'm in a one day it'll be like a thrift store thing where I'm like, it's here.
Yeah,
and
you
I
have
got
to put it out to the universe.
Putting it out in the universe. All
Okay,
right.
so needless to say, would and did.
Would and did.
Quite frankly,
Yeah,
did. Yeah.
did.
All right. Next up, speaking of the 90s, I'm calling this Grunge Westwood. Obviously, grunge is a massive category of fashion. I think that there was a lot of different things that people were wearing that would epitomize that style. In this context, I'm specifically talking about the plaid of it all. And I think also a lot of what Westwood did was sort of a play on a kilt.
Yeah.
And that idea of like a sort of deconstructed garment that just looks like it's tied around you, like plaid shirts tied around the waist was obviously like
Marc Jacobs, you know, the infamous grunge collection in the 90s.
Yeah.
So are you specifically kind of just talking about, because I'm into those skirts, to be honest. I would like both of those skirts.
It made me want one.
Yeah, like I'm into that. I'm definitely into it. And I'm like, when am I actually not into plaid? Never kind of not into plaid.
That's why it was specifically not plaid necessarily, but this take on also sort of, I'm loving this look of distressed plaid. Like you said, the Marc Jacobs grunge collection, but it's coming back around again.
I've made plaid flannel shirts and I don't tend to wear them. Like I'm not like a plaid shirt queen. But I like plaids in like wools, and I love it in suitings, and I love it maybe in a more unconventional way, but I feel like the more conventional it is, maybe the less likely I am to wear it.
Yeah, I think what I was responding to in this, because I'm obviously a wood in this instance, is that return again to the Westwood approach of it, which is sort of taking a kilt and then sort of breaking that down. And I really want to make some version of the sort of handkerchief skirt that sort of
like it with those boots too. It feels kind of heavy, but I'm into it. Great.
Okay, so needless to say, we're wood and wood.
Wood. Yeah.
Wood and wood.
Okay.
This is more woods than I thought there would be, to be honest.
These are like I thought this was gonna be like a punked, where you were gonna give me the most like egregious things and I was gonna be doing spit takes and stuff.
Deadly serious.
This is deadly serious.
So
sheer insanity.
So this is one that is sort of a combination of a bunch of trends, but I did see a lot of forecasters talking about this idea of these totally transparent garments worn over. I love the styling of this lady wearing this piece over the overalls.
Oh, that is incredible. The worst
wild.
example of this is Kanye's poor wife.
Well, they're not together anymore.
Breaking news.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Anyway, that looks like split stuff.
Godspeed to her.
Yeah.
I would.
Okay.
I haven't.
Yeah.
And I think it would depend on the context. So what I don't want is, like, there is a place for a stretch poly mesh, but for me it's like in a bra. It's not necessarily a shirt. Like, I don't know if I want that fabric. We were talking about this at lunch. I don't know if I want like a sheer poly mesh near my armpit.
Never again.
Just, like, nobody needs to experience that. Where I like this iterated is exactly like we're saying, this woman with the overlay, or this jacket with the overlay. Like, I like it as like a layer. Where it almost becomes a commentary on what the garment is. And we have to go, I'm planning, actually I would, and I'm going to, because we're going to a trade show in May, and I'm planning I have to walk the runway. And I was like, I think we need to do this dress in this sheer, like I might have to, we have to figure out what I'm gonna wear underneath, but if I'm gonna walk it, I wanna have a moment. And so would and will.
Would and will.
Not, but it's like a special, this is like a moment. You're having a moment. Like, this isn't maybe every day.
And I like what you say about a commentary on the garment. I think that's so, I also am not drawn to the idea of just sort of being naked anymore. I spent a lot of my youth, playing with that at the club, as we say, and whatever. And I think what I find more interesting now is the exposed seams. Speaking of exposed seams, and sort of that play. I love the hard and soft.
I'm just laughing about your Bachelor in Paradise microphone situation right now.
I needed to find something to put this on.
She couldn't figure out how to put it on her T-shirt, and
it's very like
Bachelor in Paradise.
Yeah, all those shows where the guys have to be mic'd but
wearing
naked,
like a conch.
And then you're like, why do they all have the same necklace on? It's to support a lav mic. But yeah, I like that idea of the hard and soft of this tulle shirt over an overall. I don't know that woman, but she is so cool. Yeah, it's less for me about showing off the body, and more showing the
clothes under the
play
thing.
or the construction of the garment itself, and seeing the seam lines in the garment.
Well, I love this beautiful black gown with like the godets, like it looks like godets have been inserted into the skirt.
Yeah, it almost looks more interesting without the body in it.
And you get to see like the seam lines and like the zippers exposed, and then it becomes this like cool commentary.
And I love the way the gathering on the bottom forms the opacity. Okay, so obviously in the right context, wood. Okay. There you go. There you have it. This is, again, way more woods than
I really thought there was going to be way more cans.
Well, that was really surprising to me.
Is there more?
No.
Oh my God, we're going to kill people if this keeps going on. Well, it's surprising to me because I thought you were going to getcha. You were going to like give me some ones that was going to get like a hot take from me, but most of this I was like.
And I think that was sort of initially the idea, and then the more I was looking through fashion, I was like, you know what? Everything is going, like we just said, like everything is kind of on the table. The algorithms are so small and specific, and the kids are not making fun of each other for what they're wearing, and it gave me a lot of hope. I was like, in our day, it was so specific what you could wear to be in or out or whatever. And I think what I'm seeing is it's like really open game, open season. People are really into expressing their own personal obsessions. And
I think like Montreal's always been interesting because it's like, it's a fashion capital of Canada, but it's not, we don't have the shopping that you have in other major cities. We just don't have the wealth in Montreal that you would have to support like, a Soho or something. But I'm always really inspired by how people dress in Montreal because it's a lot of artists and students and people without a lot of money. And I like love, one of my favorite things to do is to go have a coffee and just like see what see what everybody's wearing. And sometimes I'm like, that's not a look for me, but I'm also like, queen, like no broad nips out, like go for it. Like I'm just, there just seems to be like a sense of confidence and anything goes attitude that I think is really admirable. Yeah. And I think we should all be kind of applying like, yes, maybe this is a trend you've seen before, but it's okay for you to try it again. It doesn't mean you're old. Like figure out a way to like make it yours and make it feel good.
That's it. That's it.
Anyway, what else? Where else are we gonna leave it?
Well, I think if we can just say anything is look to Ready to Wear to get inspired for your next sewing project. See what of these things you want to trend with. And I think, fabric, have fun with fabric and try it out. And if you don't love it, no love lost. Who cares,
Just
right?
give it to your teenage daughter.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you are the teenage daughter, in which case, hey, I'm so glad you haven't tuned out because we keep calling you a kid.
So thanks so much for joining us today.
Bye.
And like and subscribe for more videos. We'll have one next week.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.